all those who are here, welcome to AMA The Labs. We're going to be focusing on the incubator, and there are some questions about the new releases and stuff like that, and we got Shane on for that, which is great. So I'm Ankit Srinivas, the community manager here at ETC Labs. With me, I have
Liz Kukka, the director of programs and operations.
And it's great to see all these questions over here, which is awesome. So let's get started with a basic one. All right, let's get started with this one. How does the accelerator integrate with the whole ETC ecosystem?
The way that the Ethereum Classic Accelerator integrates with the whole ETC ecosystem is in a number of ways. First, we kind of check in as frequently as we can with kind of known organizations that contribute to ETC, such as ETC Co-op, IOHK, as well as the core team. And so with that, we're putting efforts towards developing ETC core technology and developing and maintaining the community and broadening the community as well. So, yep, that's how we integrate with the ETC ecosystem.
And okay, that's true. And then another question is, when are the projects from the first cohort expected to go live? They are technically live, right?
Yeah, just about all of them are live already. Some teams will launch shortly. So for example, Ethernode, who a lot of you might have been following, they're both a software and hardware solution, essentially a decentralized router, similar to Casa for Bitcoin. Instead, they're focusing on Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. They will start their pre-sales beginning next week.
Ooh.
The rest, yeah, and then the rest of our teams, the majority are already live. So, for example, Kryzen's already live, Monetizer's live, VRX Lab's live, Button Wallet live. Another team that's not to market yet or public yet is Anylog, and they will be building out for the rest of this year.
Now, adding on to that question, why does the accelerator work with projects that are not launched yet?
Sure. We work with teams that haven't launched yet. So to take a step back, we work with a number of teams that are at a number of different stages. So for example, if a team is pre-seed or very early, maybe it's just one or two people with an idea, we're happy to work with teams like that if they've developed solutions before and have had businesses that they've run and managed before. So what I'm trying to say, or what we're trying to say is that teams with experience, we're willing to work at that very, very early stage. For majority of teams though, we're looking for an MVP or a POC or a proof of concept that they already have in place, or even one or two sales, or at least a user base. They can be on testnet, but they need to have an MVP for the majority.
Okay. I mean, it's true. A couple of the teams that we had are literally just launching, like Ethernode right now. Kryzen launched in January. So if you're definitely interested and you haven't launched it, of course, you can still apply. Let's scroll down and see what other questions there are. Does ETC Labs still have a Singapore-based presence?
We have an office in Singapore. We're not doing much work out of there. So for now, there's no accelerator in Singapore. So right now, the only accelerator presence is in San Francisco.
Okay. And are you by chance interested in funding auto profit switching mining algorithm? Profit switching mining algorithms.
Interesting. Well, I could tell you so this is to Brooks. I could tell you what we are looking at. Our interest moving forward for cohort 2 is we're looking at teams that are helping build out core infrastructure, so core blockchain and also applications that can sit on core ETC blockchain. So for example, that's protocol level solutions, dev tooling, interoperability, scalability, test networks. That's what we're looking for. And so if the solution that you're proposing, the profit switching mining algorithm, it's interesting. So send it on over. If it's unique and novel and something we haven't seen before, we're definitely interested in checking it out and meeting with the team and getting to know more.
So when you were mentioning about the interoperability, scalability, infrastructure that you're going for in cohort 2, what kind of impact does this have on ETC Labs? What does this have an impact on the community of ETC Labs?
Yeah, so in addition to the ETC core dev team that's maintaining our core blockchain, we're always interested in other teams that are also contributing at the core level and that can build on it as well. So the thinking is that, we're helping build and maintain the core foundation so that folks can launch platforms and marketplaces and dApps on top of it in a way that it's not clunky and that it's easy to use and that adoption will actually increase, because right now what we see is that adoption's pretty low across all blockchains, not just Ethereum Classic or Ethereum, but across all of them.
Cool. I mean, it'll be great to see what's coming up in the next cohort. Let's go to Ku Wang. He's asking, does it require a lock for a startup to start in an ETC platform?
Hey, Ko Wang. I don't know exactly what the question is asking, but what I think you're asking is, how do you get started with ETC kind of dev tooling and things like that? Yes, it's super simple. Yaz from Co-op has published a bunch on this, on getting started with smart contracts. We have some videos with both Shane and Zach who've done boot camps, as well as Stefan from the core dev team. So I think there's a lot of resources out there, and yes, it's pretty simple to get started.
And he also asks, what are the significance of the projects or businesses that use ETC platform for its growth?
For currently versus like future forecasting, a lot of our projects, so when we first started, this is our very first cohort, folks, and our second one begins in August. So we are just getting started. And with the first cohort, we weren't as rigid or as demanding with the teams we worked with and saying that you have to integrate with ETC and you have to do this, that, or the other. And really, we never want to say you have to do anything. We want it to be, flexible and beneficial for everybody. So with our current cohort, folks are oftentimes taking ETC for payment, but not necessarily integrating just yet. With their next cohort, the kind of requirement, they don't have to build on ETC per se, but they need to integrate with ETC, and there needs to be kind of a rollout plan to integrate with ETC, and that will certainly increase growth for our blockchain and for our ecosystem.
Eric01120 is asking how ETC can help startups who are applying, whether it's financing, communications, legal. What are we doing? What is ETC Labs doing for these startups?
At ETC Labs, we do as much as we can. We're a tiny little team. For the most part, on the day-to-day, it's myself, it's Ankit, and it's Dean who do kind of the everyday work. So on my side, it's making introductions to investors. It's helping find users, customers, pitch opportunities, presenting opportunities. So that's kind of my go-to. Ankit, who's your host right now, can probably speak to his job better than what I can say. But really, he's supporting our teams to make sure that their time in the lab is going well, that they know when the workshops are happening and they know where to go to for resources, as well as broader community engagement. And then Dean Papas, our marketing director, he does everything from writing articles to running a podcast to helping with marketing support. Eric Yang, our CTO for the broader community, he will do technical reviews every once in a while. Sharon Diora, he'll do pitch reviews from the investor perspective. So that's to answer kind of that question. Is that we're all here. It's kind of all hands on deck, the most that we can, and be as supportive as possible. For legal, we do host workshops and work with a few different legal teams that can help out there as well. We certainly don't provide any legal counsel ourselves. We can say what we've seen and share our experiences, but we definitely don't provide any direct legal help.
Another question from Sneg55. Why are your applications forms are on F-Success? It's not so convenient. And any chances we'll be starting to accept these applications via angel.co?
Snag55, I would love to chat with you after because I want that feedback on what the F6S application process is like. Like, is it super clunky? Is it disorganized? Like, what is it like and why isn't it working? So would definitely like to connect after to get your feedback or send me a note through Discord. We're using F6S right now because we were looking to broaden our reach. Before, we only had the application on our website. And so we wanted to increase traffic, and F6S was one way to do that. We're definitely interested in looking at using AngelList for our next application round. And honestly, we're looking at that because of your request. So thank you for asking. And so we've been looking at it since last week or a few days ago whenever I saw that. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Moving on, we're going to Skylar. She is asking, what is your business plan and why should I apply to the program rather than any other accelerator?
What's our business plan? Okay, well, I guess for now, our main revenue source is our investments in our startup. So that's our main revenue stream for now. So it's future equity. I mean, we do future equity. We use safe agreements. So not to get too technical on the investment side and the revenue side. And then the second part of the question, why you should apply to us and any other accelerator? I think we're pretty different, actually. I was formerly at Plug and Play Tech Center, which was very much a self-service kind of program. I know a lot of other programs offer content every single day of the week. So you're almost full-time kind of going to school, so to speak. So in our model, it's 1 day of full content. We do a closed private dinner 1 day a week with an executive who comes in to visit or an investor. And we also have a dev team who our teams have access to. They won't build for you, but they can help you with road bumps or with your product roadmap. They can potentially give feedback from a QA perspective. So you have all of those resources to tap into.
Not to mention Dean, our marketing director, amazing at promoting your your products, your MVP, whatever, right? He's there to help you guys out, and that's what the entire incubator is there for when you join the program.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to have somebody from the marketing perspective to be able to contribute. That's fantastic. We're also located in downtown San Francisco, and to give you a sense of what the blockchain crypto space is like here in the city, on any given day of the week, you have 3 to 4 different blockchain specific events to choose from. So it's pretty heavy, and I would say it's all the way down from the core dev level all the way up to kind of this general closed Hyperledger Fabric kind of solutions to kind of crypto trading events. There's a lot of folks here in San Francisco who've been in the space since 2012 and prior. So it's not like a bunch of folks who are just kind of jumping in last minute. There's been a lot of holders who've been around for a long time here and developers. So it's a large thriving community in San Francisco and a great place to take advantage for a 3-month program.
Adding on to Skylar, actually, she had a question, will you invest in startups, or what are you looking for in startups? So what's your criteria when you're picking a startup?
Yeah, the first thing we're interested in is the team and the tech. So from a team perspective, we want to make sure it's folks who kind of have the background to build a great product and who have thought about the use case and the business model as well. So we want to make sure that they're thinking that through, and we want to know that they're thinking beyond just an idea. So you have this interesting idea, we want to see that you're actually trying to put it to work, something beyond a white paper. And so that's very important to us. Yeah, I'd say that's it. It also needs to be a good fit. So teams that want to contribute to the community and the ecosystem, teams who want to help other startups that are here in the office and help each other. That's huge. And teams that we get along with, like no one wants a jerk in the office, right? So it needs to be somebody who we want to spend 3 months with and you want to spend 3 months with us.
What do you think is the timeline from initially meeting a team to them finally being in our program?
Yeah, it's different for everybody. So we met one of our teams, Kryzen, way back in September of last year. And so we got to know them for many months, and we didn't speak with them every day or even every week. It was probably maybe once a month. We did like a brief high level check-in, which was fantastic. It's kind of a status check, and it's helping us understand how their team works and that they're able to execute and deliver on time. That was wonderful. And it's not just their words or their writing. They're able to show the progress of their technology development. So that's key. On the other hand, there's a team by the name of Monetizer who we met pretty close to the very last day of accepting applications, and Original My as well. So Monetizer, they were referred, and Original My also, pretty close to the deadline.
So once you're through the programs, right? You're done. You hit your 3 months. You hit demo day. What's in it for the startups now?
Yeah, we certainly don't want the teams, the projects, the startups to just go away. We want to be a resource moving forward. We will launch our very first alumni program this month. So as soon as demo day happens, the alumni program kicks in. And what that looks like is, meeting twice a year for a check-in via kind of virtual session. Once a year, hosting an in-person for folks to attend. Also bringing in the former cohort to the cohort 2 and cohort 2 and to cohort 3 and so on and so forth to meet the teams during our very first week. And lastly, we want our teams to be able to help each other. So that means if a team has a product that they want to launch or they want user feedback, we want to connect our teams to each other so they can continue to help grow each other's ecosystems.
Awesome. So I think we covered most of the questions from the accelerator that have been listed. So we're going to go into more of the recent release and some of the more dev questions. So I'm guessing Shane is online to help out with those. Isn't that right, Shane?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, so we'll go with the first question from Saya. What's coming? Hard fork focus. Can you organize a discussion in the server? And Super Freak, what is the initial purpose of the OpenRPC project? What are the features, and do you have a plan for version 2?
So the first question, there's lots of discussion in the ECIP channel about the hard fork stuff, and I recommend them going there. And also the actual ECIP for that is on GitHub. And then the second question is about OpenRPC, and the initial purpose of it is that basically it's trying to fill a big gap in the ecosystem, which is that like Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin and all of their derivatives, like their API that you interact with, are all JSON RPC based, and there's no way to currently describe an JSON RPC interface. And right now, like stuff like docs, clients, other artifacts are just painstakingly done right now by hand. So that just means lots of mistakes, lots of work duplicated, lots of work wasted. So yeah, that's the main focus on the reason behind it. And the plans for V2, hopefully we never have a V2 because we want the JSON RPC protocol in general has stayed the same. So that ideally it never does, but we'll just probably make small incremental improvements. That's it for me.
Awesome. And then we're going to go to MKC. Are you on? I see you. But is your mic unmuted? Let's see. Oh, it should be, unless you don't want to talk. All right, while he figures that out, let's go to... I think we're pretty much good on the questions. Do you see?
Crypto Lab.
Oh yeah, here we go. Crypto Lab. So Shane, maybe you could chime in over here. What are the advantages of using Ethereum Classic over other crypto coins and regular money at the bank? Or maybe Liz, you could also chime in over here.
Yeah, either of us. Shane, Rochambeau.
Well, you can take this one if you want.
Okay.
I can follow up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to answer the second part first. I mean, by holding onto digital currency over having your money in the bank, I mean, assuming that you are using a hard wallet of your own, is that you then have kind of control over your own money, right? So you're not dependent on somebody else or concerned that some institution is going to take your funds. So I think that's one of the obvious advantages. A second one is liquidity. So, and again, another obvious advantage. Why ETC over another coin? I'd say it has to do with your belief in immutability and in decentralization. And we can go into the immutability 51% attack piece separate if you'd like. But I think kind of following those values and believing in the folks who are in the ecosystem and wanting to see it thrive, that's why people pick it up or buy it. Also for investment purposes. So it depends on why you're using it, I guess. Yep. Shane, you want to add or no?
Yeah, like just the immutability part. There's definitely not infinite amounts of blockchains. Let's say lots of blockchains out there right now, and you need to really pick which coin you're gonna hold that really holds onto the principles that you believe in. And in my case, I believe that we shouldn't be messing with transactions or reverting anything. So that's kind of why I would hold ETC.
Awesome. All right. I did see a question from Classic Kevin. This is for the lab, so Liz. What is the end game for ETC Lab? Say 5 years. When the startups are launched and doing well, the ecosystem is strengthened. ETC. Will ETC Labs always be around ETC, or will the incubator eventually focus on other blockchain ecosystems? To follow up, will the labs always be around ETC in some capacity?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a big question too. 5 years from now, I think so. I mean, we're committed to this for the long haul. And will the labs always be around ETC in some capacity? As far as I can tell, absolutely. Again, we mentioned this earlier around ETC integration. And the first cohort, it wasn't a strict kind of requirement, but moving forward, that teams have a proposal and plan on how they're going to integrate with ETC. So very much so. We do believe in interoperability and do want to work with other blockchains, but again, for the lab specifically, absolutely. As far as I can see, we're committed to ETC. And so for 5 years from now, where will we be? Well, ideally 5 years from now, next year, if core technology is good to go and we have a great value proposition to developers to build with us, then we'll start to see in a year or two, functioning dApps and platforms and marketplaces that have the added advantage of blockchain, such as having data sovereignty, me being able to own my own data and do what I'd like with it, and do it in a simple way where I don't need to know that blockchain's on the back end. And so ideally 5 years from now, we're working with teams that one, are doing research and still bringing it forward. I have no idea what that will look like. I don't think any of us do. But then two, it's almost looking like a regular accelerator at that point because the core tech is built. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if there's an idea that needs to be put out there, if someone has an idea in 5 years that wants to build on ETC, hopefully we're there to help you grow. So 5 years, I think we'll still go strong, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, and we're constantly trying to get better. So if you look at someone like Y Combinator, who's been around for over a decade, they will attest that to this day, they're still changing their model every single cohort because they're constantly trying to get better, right? It's never like, this is the plan and let's just stick to the plan. It's like, yes, that's the plan, but we need startups and projects and teams and the ecosystem to tell us, like, this is what we want and this is how we think you could get better. Without that feedback, we're just going to stay stagnant.
And our last question is from Yaz. Will ETC have a CoinSense style spokes?
Consensus style spokes. Shane?
I think as for right now, it's kind of like that now with the way that the ETC Labs core team is set up. So there's nothing like formalized around that, but yeah, like for example, we have like the ETC Labs like tooling team that's working on specific stuff, and Mike and Alan are doing the LLVM stuff, and yeah, we just have like you said, something like consensus style spokes, but there's nothing formalized around that currently.
Yeah, Yaz, do you mean like and I wish I knew more about their model. Do you mean like a spoke and hub model? Is that what you mean? Or did Shane knock it out of the park? He probably did. Oh, okay.
Parallel indie teams.
Yeah. I think Shane was kind of alluding to it. So in a sense, you have the lab, and then you have the core, the dev team who works in many ways almost independently from us. Like, we're around working together, helping each other, but honestly, it's almost kind of like a hub and spoke model.
All right, guys. So that's it. This was supposed to be half an hour, and we got 2 minutes, but ooh, we got one more question, I think.
Oh, that's all Shane.
That's all Shane.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah, I can take that too.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yoki Strong.
I can't give details on like where it is exactly right now. I think like if you want to really get into it, you can check out GitHub and pull down the code and stuff. But the idea for the EVM LLVM stuff is to be able to have the EVM as a backend for LLVM, and then ideally have like any language be the front end. So that would get us some really amazing language support for the EVM. And not only language, but the EVM provides like an insane amount of optimizations that have, got into the code base over the last, decade or so. Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm seeing more dev questions coming up. So we're gonna have another AMA for dev next month, I believe. Dean will elaborate more on that. Thank you for joining us. If you guys ever have more questions, you could always ping Liz or me. Our emails are on the website. So thank you so much. Have a great day.